Okay, I haven't done one of these in a while, but I've been feeling kind of puny lately, and I can't send for Chinese food every time I'm feeling puny. So I was researching online, found a recipe for egg drop soup. Calls for 32 ounces of chicken broth or vegetable broth or whatever you prefer. I bought chicken broth, $1.98. You put this in a pan at room temperature, and ooh, there's a recipe on here for chicken tortilla soup. Tortilla soup! Okay. While this is at room temperature, what you need to do is add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and kind of shake it around a little bit. Then you add a teaspoon of ground ginger. Then a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now while that's in there, you kind of want to let it come to, put it on medium heat, by the way. Don't use the metal spatula on a Teflon pot, and you whisk it together. You don't want to wait till it gets hot to add the cornstarch, because if you do, cornstarch will turn into like lumps, like dumplings. You don't want to do that. So you wait till it comes to a simmer. It said you only have to do the total time for this is 15 minutes. 5 minutes of prep, 10 minutes of cooking. I guess depends on if you're using an electric stove or gas stove, whichever. So you whisk this together. Make sure you get all the lumps out. And then once you've gotten all the lumps out, it should look like this. Let me show you. It should look like, kind of like gravy, almost. Okay? Let's try to get this back. Alright. So, I'm going to let that simmer. My stove's old, so I'm putting it up a little bit. It's important when you're measuring out things that you need to use the right measuring. My mom and I cooked as I was growing up, and I lost my mom this year, but I always remember her saying, when you're measuring liquids, you use a liquid measuring cup. When you're measuring powders or solids, you use a appropriate cup for that, okay? That's important. And then if it doesn't say heaping teaspoon of something, you can use a butter knife, or you can use a, this is a baker's tester thing, and just scrape it across. That way you get the exact amount that the recipe calls for. But if you're going to make a recipe that you're just kind of winging it, that really, unless you're trying to record what you make, anyhow, that doesn't matter. But something I learned from my mom, and we did a lot of baking together. So she's also the one that told me that you don't use a metal utensil on a Teflon or ceramic coated. Well, no, maybe the ceramic ones will be okay. I don't know. But this is almost coming to a simmer. So that was smart, we turned it up. Now, while you're waiting for that, you take 3 whole eggs, 1, 2, 3, and you pour them into a measuring cup. When this comes to a simmer, a small rapid boil, whatever you want to call it, you pour your eggs in. But it's important that when you're pouring your eggs in, that you swirl it around with your whisk, because if not, you're not going to get the look that the egg drop soup has in the restaurants. So we'll wait for that to happen. At the end, once you have all of this together, it's optional to season it with salt and pepper, and a half a teaspoon of sesame oil. I'm not going to add the sesame oil because my kids will laugh at this, but I found this in the back of the pantry. It expired in 2014. So I'm not taking a chance, and I'll probably be the only one eating it. I'm not trying to make myself sick. But since I've been feeling kind of puny, soup's been my go-to. My stepmother likes egg drop soup when she's sick. Not that she'll eat mine, but anyway, this is taking a minute, so I'm going to try to speed up the process a little bit. And clean as you go. Clean as you go. Okay, the St. Rachel Ray, we don't have a room full of staff in the back. Clean as you go. 3 little things I use to measure out the ingredients. Clean them up as you go. Okay? Same thing with this. Now, for those moms that used to be in my mom's group that were used to me doing a picture to show each step, this was so much more fun. So, I hope you guys like this recipe. This is actually the first time I've used this one, and I'm hoping it tastes good too, but I'm not real crazy about cornstarch. I know when you make a roux for something, you use flour or cornstarch to thicken it up, but this is really taking a long time. I'm thinking I should have put a lid on it. Alright, where's my lid? I hope this is the right lid. I hate when you pull a lid out and you don't know if it's the right one or not. And then you gotta wash it because you got it dirty. And yes, I say wash. I'm from Baltimore. That's how we say it. So I'm just put a lid on it so I can get it to come up faster to a boil. I don't want to record 15 minutes of watching this, so. But I just want you all to know that the technique I learned by reading different recipes is when you're adding your eggs in, you can do more eggs or more egg whites, less eggs, yolks with it. I'm using 3. I don't have a problem with cholesterol, so I'm eating the egg. Okay, so it's starting to simmer. Alright, we still have it on. I actually turned it up to high, so let me give it a few minutes or a few seconds here. I'm not patient when I'm cooking. I know. When I'm baking, I'm fine. When I'm cooking, I want a gas stove so bad, but we don't have one, so I'm settling for what I have. Yay! Alright, come on, come on, come on. I'm really anxious to eat this, or try this. All we're missing is the crunchy noodles, but I'm good without it. Okay, it's coming to more of a boil. Now that it's coming to that, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to whisk with my right hand in a whirlpool type motion and slowly pour these eggs in. Ooh, that's so pretty. I can't wait to show you guys. All right, another egg. They didn't say I had to bust the yolks on the recipes I read. So this makes me kind of wonder, does it just get swirled in, or am I supposed to bust the yolks, or what? Okay, now I'm going in the opposite direction. They said it's important to swirl because it won't give your soup the ribbons of eggs, the ribbons that you see when you go to a restaurant and you order it. So now I'm supposed to simmer this for 5 minutes on a low to medium heat. Ooh, I see the ribbons already. You can season with salt and pepper to taste. You can add that sesame oil. It's whatever you prefer. I like pepper on everything, so this is my end product. It's my egg drop soup. Oops, let me make sure I'm getting this in here. There we go. Egg drop soup, everybody. Okay, now, once this cools off a little, I'm going to eat some, and hopefully I'll start to feel better and won't feel so puny.